Let's go ahead and call the meeting to order at 7:00 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so the agenda presented was amended to add item 3C, Budget Committee reappointments. Is there a motion to approve tonight's amended agenda?
I move to approve the agenda as presented with the addition of 3C Budget Committee reappointments, Tammy Bennett and Dennis Frazier.
There a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to presentations, proclamations, and visitors. Tonight, our first presentation is, has anyone signed up to speak other than, okay.
On the agenda.
Yeah. So we have Aumsville Historical Society Annual Report presented by Ted Shepard. Ted, please take the dais.
Hello to everyone. Thank you. I also brought along my Vice President, Roger Porter, to let him learn the process here a little bit. Our officers and volunteers continue to maintain our business needs for the museum and AHS. We held elections in November for 2026 officers and one board position. Our normal museum season opened the first Saturday in April, operating our normal times and days until the end of October. The museum was open 94 hours. We welcomed 132 visitors and our volunteers donated 234 hours. That might sound high, but we do have members that just come and visit, so we include them, which is nice. We get to visit and talk about other things, and sometimes they delve into some of our archives and look at things. So it runs up the numbers. Our numbers were down due to no visits from the elementary school, which I'm hoping might get started up again this spring. But we did have 6 visitors who had Aumsville connections to the Bartos and Heiberger family. So although we didn't have as many numbers, we had quality because these folks go back into the 40s and they took time to look at the mill site picture on the Pettit building and walk over to the mill site. And so it was really fun. And the one Bartos family member, he walked in, he says, well, all this stuff belonged to my grandfather because it's labeled like that. So he recognized it right off the bat. So it's nice when we have those older family connections come back to town and visit with us. And our membership total for 2026 is 49. We usually get about 15 to 25 at a meeting. So we do pretty good there. Our 2025 expenses was $4,153, and our income was $2,900, and our bank balance is $22,000. Yeah, we don't always, we did buy a computer, so that ran that expense number up, which was partly from money from Corn Festival funds, so appreciate that. We finally got around to buying one of those, and I've been using it a lot this winter when it's raining. And I would like to share some information. Currently, we are doing a series of history talks at the Brown House in Staten. They got some grant money. They have pulled all the local historical societies, Sile, Jefferson, Aumsville, Silverton, North Santiam, and Santiam. And each month, we're doing a topic discussion or presentation. And just last weekend was Jefferson on the Conser family. And next month on the 21st, it will be our turn. And we'll be talking about the history of the museum and the society and highlighting some of our local early pioneers. And this takes place every Saturday. All programs are from 3 to 4:30. And I brought a list, and I can leave this with you, and you can share it, maybe get it in the newsletter if you want, but it'll be available. And we have copies at the museum. It's also on our Facebook website. And I got a call today. A lady she was there last Saturday. She says, I want to come to your museum. So I told her when we were open, and I said, but we're open for appointments too. And she said, oh, I'll just wait till April. So I think it's good because we're sharing information amongst the historical society groups, and everybody's posting stuff on their Facebook pages and things like that. So. And I guess I did say thank you for the check for this year too that came in. And so I appreciate it. Any questions, comments?
Thank you, Ted.
Oh, thank you.
Mhm. Yep, thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. Okay, moving on. Next, we have our city employee awards. Sorry, guys, I can't speak tonight. Ron is going to present.
I'm going to start the presentation, but with the help of some of the department heads as needed, I'll call them up. Just a little side story. When I wanted to apply for the position in Aumsville, I had to do some recon. So I had to drive down here and check out the community and talk to people. My first stop was the museum. And Ted and Barbara, right? Carol, Ted and Carol, yep, sorry. And we're in there staffing it, and I sat in there and talked to them. They gave me a good historical perspective of the community. I was very active in my hometown museum, so it was really nice to see that Aumsville was forward thinking enough to really preserve its history and take an active part in staffing it for others. So that was great. Thank you, guys. All right. So we're going to start off with our longevity awards. And as council knows, every year or every cycle, we like to recognize our employees for their 5, 10, I think we do 15, right? 5, 10, 15, and 20, and
so on.
And so on, every 5 years. And so we've got that cycle. So I'm going to call both Steve. Let me call Steve. I saw Steve here. There he is. And Thane Crothers. Thane is going to get his 5-year award. There we go. Thank you. This is my helper, by the way, tonight, helping to distribute awards. And I'll let you and Steve take a picture. But one of the nice things, as you see, was as we go through the cycle tonight, we do have a lot of long-term employees, and that says something about the city, both working here and the community in general. So thank you for sticking around here. So our next 5-year award is for David Kossel. I don't think he was available tonight, but we do have his award here, and I'm going to have the chief come up and accept it on his behalf, and we'll get it to him next time he's in on his shift. So.
And before we do have a 10-year award, I'm going to come up to the dais. So tonight we present Ron Harding, for 10-year of outstanding leadership and dedicated service. What I would like to say is when Ron first came to work for us, the city was not in a great spot. We were actually looking at going into the red. And the work that he's done over the years, and there's been a lot of pushback back and forth. I'm sorry. Whatever challenges we have set, sometimes I think we as council forget limitations as a city, and Ron brings us back in perspective, but he's also met the benchmarks that we have put forth in the community. And we are in a good place compared to where we were. I think we're in a better place than a lot of cities. And that is done with the collaboration of good leadership and great staff. So 10 years, here you go.
Ordered those. Thank you. All right. Well, Mayor, I would just add to that and say that I'm only successful because of the people that work with me at the city. And I appreciate those compliments, but these guys are really the folks that make things happen. So, I've actually got the pleasure, and I don't get to do that often, but I've got the pleasure of awarding a 20-year award, and that is to our police chief, Damian Flowers. Well, Damian is here to get this 20-year award. But I would like to just make a couple comments. He's been our chief just for a couple of years, and the difference, how he's been able to organize and propel the department, honestly, has just been outstanding, and I couldn't be happier with our selection. Now, just remember, my likeness is copyrighted, so there's a copyright charge for every publication.
No telling where that last one's gonna end up.
What?
There's no telling where that last photo is gonna end up.
Yeah, that's right.
One of his troops took it.
All right, thank you. So we're going to move on to what we're calling our champion award. And, you know, every year we award an employee of the year here in the city. And it's difficult because we've got some great employees. And when I write an award up for my department, or Steve does, or the chief does, it's hard because honestly, a lot of our employees are deserving of that recognition level, but we do have to pick somebody. So we reorganized it this year because department heads were having so much trouble selecting somebody, and we created some structure to it and some criteria and a process, and it did make it much easier, although I would still reiterate that there's a lot of deserving folks here in the city. But each recipient is awarded from their department head, and they receive a champion award. And then out of the three, we select an employee of the year now. So rather than the three nominees just getting nominated, they're actually going to get designation that's worthy of the fact that they performed outstanding throughout the year, and they were nominated. So our first champion award is for the police department, and our award winner is Shane Bird. So on these, I'm going to read a little bit of criteria that was presented. Shane's nomination states, Shane set the bar high for professionalism, leadership, and community service. Shane has helped strengthen community trust, improved officer safety, and assisted in improving operational efficiency within the police department. Shane is a natural leader who has stepped up in that leadership capacity to assist the chief as needed. Shane led the evidence room project, and this project had been a thorn in our side for a long time, but the chief came in, he wanted to get something happening with that and get it all cleaned up, and Shane took that leadership role on. I think Brenda might have assisted you a little bit. So he got that inventoried as time allowed. He disposed of, we had evidence from
1970s?
yeah, many years ago, and it really just needed to be cleaned up. In the process, he helped recover value to replace all the officers' firearms. We needed to replace those for efficiency and to keep up with the current demand. These were needed. And he was able to negotiate some of this old inventory trade-in value, so it didn't cost the city out-of-pocket money. The process saved the city a great deal of money, provided officers their much needed equipment without a negative impact on our budget. And so our first award, our champion award, is for chamber.
And a parking spot.
Helps. Do you want to get in?
He's just taking pictures. Thank you.
Steve, you might as well come up here and help me present this. So from our Public Works Department, this year we're recognizing Thane Cruther as this year's champion award. Now, I don't know if you've had a chance to spend a lot of time with Thane, but he's very quiet, but he is a powerhouse in getting lots of stuff done here at the city. A portion of his nomination reads as follows. Thane has taken on many additional tasks and responsibility. He is silently dependable for the city and fellow workers. If they need anything, he will drop whatever he's doing to assist them. Never heard him argue or complain. That may have happened, but I've never heard it. Thane is taking a leadership role with the new wastewater facility operations. He's working towards his operating level certification, which council will hear more about later this year, but it takes a long time to get these certifications, and performing lab tests, and he does them by the book. It's very methodical. Thane helps work with and coordinate between other city departments, leading to smoother interdepartmental tasks. Thane is always respectful and dependable and consistently works diligently on behalf of the city. So we're proud to award Thane our champions. Good job. On the other side?
I'm on your side.
I just like proportion. All right.
Is it gonna be?
I tried to keep this one a little shorter, but it was difficult to pare it down. So I'm gonna have to do this one by myself because I'm from City Hall. Carly, would you come up? I'm gonna make you stand here while I embarrass you a little bit, if you don't mind. Just FYI, this is all day at the city right here. This is every day. City Hall is proud to announce this year's champion award goes to Carly Helmbach. Since joining the city in 2024, Carly has embodied the qualities every organization hopes to find in a dedicated public sector employee. Especially in a field that can be challenging, when measured against the criteria of our award, she excelled in every category. A standout example of her dedication has been her work during the Cassell software conversion, and council recalls the nightmare we endured, and all staff worked diligently, but Carly took a special interest. Throughout that complex transition, we received numerous error files from our vendors, and they would say it's fixed, and they would send us the file. Carly would get right in there before anybody could even get their computer started up. She would test the files rigorously and identify issues before they reached the public. Her diligence allowed us to develop thoughtful strategies for communicating with residents and managing the utility account concerns. While the technical challenges were outside of Carly's control, all of our control actually, Carly ensured that our response remained proactive and professional. Carly's approachable personality and natural leadership also shined through, not only during that period when we had people come to the counter. It's hard to be angry with this person. They can be angry with me, but when she's at the counter, it's just really tough. But also during our Corn Festival sponsorship campaign, she took the initiative in securing donations, building new community relationships, and aligning those sponsorship in ways that benefited both the city and those participating businesses. Her efforts directly contributed to a record-breaking fundraiser in 2025. There's so much more lengthy attributes I could say about each of these candidates. I'm getting ahead of myself. I have to give you your award. Okay, can we get your family up here?
No.
They won't come. You don't want to come? Come on now. Give me a second. Come on. I'm gonna twist your arm. Come on, just come on. Okay,
Yeah, there you go.
we'll get pictures afterwards. Okay. All right. So I'll go on to say there's so much more to the lengthy attributes of each of these candidates in their nomination forms. These were just the highlights and just gave some examples of their consistent efforts throughout the year. I'm proud of all of them, all of our employees who make Aumsville a great place to live. All right, so now
Now we
the
can,
suspenseful part. Who is selected as our employee of the year out of these three? And it could be any one of them. Our employee of the year award is right here. And I don't know, it's just randomly selected by some auditing firm somewhere. That's not true. But, oh, our employee of the year, Carly.
Thank you. Yay. Yeah, beautiful thing. Awesome, thank you.
Oh, here, take your.
Oh, okay.
You want to say anything or no?
Just be sweating enough.
I can say something about her.
Okay, well, you know what, Ted? You just come on up here. If you want to give a testimonial, we'll do that.
Well, I've been interacting with Carly and sharing some information and working on updating the history portion of the city website. But she also, I just want to say, she keeps an eye on that front door because I was approaching the city hall the other day and she was at the counter before I even opened the door. So.
Oh, Ted, you don't know the half of it. She's tracking you on Facebook and everything else, so.
It's been fun to talk to and visit, and I shared some information with her because property they live on is what was in the same DLC that we live on, which was the John McHaley DLC. And he encompassed 640 acres that ran along Washington Street or Main. I'd have to double check, but it went all the way down the little road. And so I shared those maps with her so she could take them home.
Excellent, thank you, Ted. So I'll just conclude the awards before the mayor announces our break, but I'd just like to say that since my arrival here in Aumsville, we've had some changes in staff for various reasons. Some folks have gotten other positions and some folks retired. We've had a number of very lengthy employments that retired out at retirement age. And sometimes people just don't feel like they're a good fit in city government because it's not an easy task, especially if you're dealing with folks at the counter. But where we are today with our staff is in a very good place. And there's just the right mix of people to do the tasks and the personalities to manage the different aspects of it. And I just want to say, I'm proud of all of you. I'm proud of our entire staff. Good job. Thank you.
so we are going to adjourn for about 5 minutes or so to have an opportunity to take some pictures, and there are some cupcakes.
Got some cupcakes in
So
the
we're gonna
back.
just take a little break. Hold on, guys. I actually got to make it official at 7:25 PM. reconvene the meeting at 7:35 PM.
Yeah.
I was gonna say AM for a second.
You missed your chance to leave. Now you gotta
I
stay.
gotta
Yeah.
stay.
Why'd they all leave? That was
That's the
it?
presentation.
That's it?
Okay,
Are
so.
we recording?
Yes. Okay, next is proclamations. There are no proclamations. Public comment. Is there anyone online besides Scott? Okay, so no public comment. Is there a motion to approve? What?
One online, I don't see anything in the chat though, so I think we're good.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda is approved unanimously. There are no public hearings tonight and there is no old business. Moving on to item number 6, new business. I'm gonna say this name wrong, so it's the circus service agreement. Ron?
The Culpeper Merriweather Circus Agreement?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. As council knows, a few years ago, we had a chance to host the circus here in the city, and they seem to be very well received by the community. We actually, I think, sold out the show so much so that people were sitting on the ground. And this year, they're on a 2-year rotation. This year, they've asked if we would do 2 days. We checked with council, which you seemed at a previous meeting, thought that was a good idea. So we we wrote up the service agreement. They have a little agreement that we sign that's just part of their process. And then we have an agreement that's about liability and maintaining a separation and things like that we have them sign. And they've been great about doing that. And so that's what's before you today. They've already signed it. So all we need to do is approve it. May 21st and 22nd, I believe, is what's in the agreement. And once we get this executed, we'll get a few sponsors and we'll start getting save the dates advertisement out and we'll have a circus. And if you have any questions about the agreement, I'm happy to answer.
Does anyone have any questions? All right. I don't think there's any further discussion. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the Culpeper Merriweather Circus Proposal Service Agreement and the permit as presented by staff.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Just so you know, I was gonna say like Coppler, because moving letters around,
And Bailey?
right?
Well, just a FYI, I went to the circus when I was a child. So it's been around a long time.
Moving on
That's it.
to items 6B, tower lease agreement with Verizon. Ron?
Yeah, so if council knows, we have a number of cell tower leases. We have the ones here at Tower Park, which is through a number of popular cell companies. And we have one down at our wastewater facility area that's a 3,600 square foot area that's fenced off. And that particular lease required the cell company to build their tower. So there's a tower there that they built. And it's theirs and they have service on it. Right now, I would say about 5 or 6 years ago, they came forward and they wanted to extend their lease. And we had like 13 or 14 years left on the lease. And I think at the time, council's direction was, let's wait 5 or so years. It seems like it's a long ways out to extend. So let's wait a few years. And so we did. I started to negotiate this lease a little over a year ago with this company. It takes a long time to do these types of negotiations with big corporations. And there were a couple of issues that I had, or I had concerns about. Because it's their tower, we allow them to sublease. It's their tower, and we charge them a much lower fee for the sublets. And my concern was competing against ourselves by leasing out a tower that somebody could sublet. So there were a couple of things that I basically said, these are things under council policies that we're gonna really have to require. One is a 4% escalator. Council set that direction a few years ago, if you remember right, where you said, okay, all of these leases are gonna have an equalized escalator, which is 4%. And so they were 3%, so that upped a little bit. The second thing is they can sublet, but the city does have to have some sort of absolute authority to say no. We're not going to compete against ourselves if it's somebody that we're currently leasing against. I don't think that they had a problem with that because I don't think that's their target sublet group, but that was something we wanted to make sure that was in there. What it will do is it will extend the lease 20 years. So they're extended in 5-year increments. So right now they have 8 years left in their current lease. It will extend it another 20 years. So 28 years total from the time that we approved this. Now, besides the increased escalator, it's also going to be effective April 1st. So instead of waiting 8 years at the 3%, that 4% will kick in on April 1st. So we'll get some benefit there as well. This is a lease extension. The original lease is still in place. There's a few terms in here that they wanted that we agreed to. One is they want a first right of a refusal, meaning if the city was able ever to dispose of the facilities down there, we were going to sell that portion out. There's a lot of companies that try to buy these cell tower locations from you, and then they'll do rent negotiations themselves. We have I don't ever see the city ever having an interest to do that. That's our wastewater facility. We're going to build a $30 million upgrade there. I just don't see us ever selling that plot of land. And that's what I told them. So we put the first right of refusal in there. It just means that they've got 45 days to, if we decide to do anything with the property, they have first choice. And that really is, that's really it. There isn't a whole lot more to the lease than that. The extension is in your packet. As you can see, there's the recitals. That's the justification for the extension. We talk about the rent, the escalation, first right of refusal, subleases. Subleases are at $400, but those also escalate at 4% a year. So they're not locked in at that. The rest is really notices and landlord statements. Those are just things when you're doing any type of a property transaction that both parties are going to want in there. It was in the original, but they like to restate it here. So if council has any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
Is it normal for that contract to be so long? Seems like a really long time. That was my only question when I read that.
I will say in my industry, we see a lot of these and it is pretty normal.
Okay,
15 to 30 years.
Most of the leases that we do for cell companies are on 25-year agreements, and they break them up into 5. It's usually like 5-year increments because they want to be able to say they don't want to renew it at a 5-year increment, but you're locking yourself into usually a 25-year commitment. They asked for a 25-year, which is standard, and I reduced it to 20 because I said we already got 8 years left. So let's just do 20, 28, and so that's what we ended up doing. That was part of our negotiation. So
other than that, I didn't have any other questions.
Yeah.
Does anyone else have any questions? Is there a motion?
I move to approve the First Amendment to option and land lease agreement with American Tower acting on behalf of Verizon Wireless, extending the lease by 20 years as presented by staff.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to agenda item number 7 is the city administrator report. Ron, please continue.
excellent. I'll try to remember everything that I have. I wanted to call your attention. I actually meant to do this at the last council meeting, but we did have our annual audit. I made
saw
sure
that.
you all got a copy of it. Again, the city has, passed our audit. They never say, oh, you're just wonderful or anything. It's always satisfactory, meet all the standards. But that's better than the alternative, which is you didn't meet the standard or you didn't do something satisfactorily. But we did pass our audit. We've got a great financials in here, which the auditors confirmed. And their letter in the front basically says we've met all the applicable law related to our financials. So I'm happy to answer any questions about that if you have it. We go through an audit each year, and it's quite the process. Josh has to bear the brunt of it because, he's the guy that knows where all the little pieces are. But we honestly haven't had much trouble. We've got good sound financial policies in place, and we've got good sound standard operating procedures in place. So it's pretty easy. Okay, so that was one thing. There's we got our monthly reports. So police and public works reports are in your packet. I don't know if you have any questions, but one of the things I'll just draw to your attention is our calls for service assisting other agencies. One of the things Damien and I have worked together was setting some criteria of when we would assist other agencies, because we don't want to have our citizens paying for us, just to be an extension of some of these other departments. And so we set some criteria, and you could see those numbers continue to be fairly low compared to where they were just a few years ago. So they're doing a great job managing that. Although if you also look, our overall calls for service are increasing quite a bit. And some of that is our proactive policing that's happening. Our folks are during their shifts are getting out, and a lot of that is proactive policing. So if you have any questions about that, happy to answer that.
I have one question.
Okay.
Because they're kind of sneaky and I don't really see the police cars out there. And it shows like over 200 traffic stops. Where are they? Who's speeding or where are they?
Yeah, Maine first.
I saw one on the way here.
I don't know. Yeah, do you want to come up and address that? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot lately.
Sometimes over there and sometimes over there, but
So for the main part, we focus on the entrance and exits of the city. So I would say the majority of them are coming in off Mill Creek on both ends, First Street and Aumsville Highway. But I will also address last year, we did not get any of the grants that we applied for traffic enforcement. This year we did. So now we are on top of our normal everyday shifts while we have officers on. We have other officers working in the city and the outskirts of the city on those special grants. So sometimes only when they're working the grant, they're like on Highway 22. So those traffic stops start adding up as well because we've got those grants. One of the things I wanted to address was the percentage of traffic stops versus citations. We still don't really write, I think it's like roughly 10% of our traffic stops get a citation. I think it's right around there. So we're very proactive with traffic, but we tend to work with the violator to see, we don't want to cite everybody. We just want compliance. And that's what we're after.
Yeah. Deterrent. That's what we try to do.
I have a question too.
Education.
Chief, do you have an idea of how many times the other agencies assist us?
It's probably equal to that, if not a little bit more. And it's mainly state. And right now Turner's kind of on a crutch. They're only working with one officer. They just hired the chief on the 9th. So we'll probably be helping them out periodically, but it's mainly when our officers only have one officer on and we get like a domestic or a dangerous call like that, Staten's coming over to help us because they've got, sometimes 2 or 3 officers on. So they're probably helping us out more than we're helping them out.
That's good to make note of that piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not just us helping everybody else. We're helping them because they help us.
Right.
That's right. But it wasn't too long ago, you would see those calls for service would be 40-50% of our calls. And as you can see, it's a small number. And I just want to say with the grants, when we get those grants for Highway 22, those are officers that aren't on shift that we're bringing in so they can collect some overtime. So we don't replace the on-duty officer. There's still somebody here. Okay. And then lastly, in your packet, I was, I wanted to be receptive of this. The Saniam Hospital asked us to sign, basically a support letter for a grant that they're applying for. And, you know, the Saniam Hospital Network is, we've got a branch here in the city, which they're looking to expand. That's what this grant is for. Typically, I wouldn't do this for a business entity. They're a pseudo public nonprofit entity. They're not a for-profit entity. So I did send a question to just our legal to say, is there anything that prevents us from approving this or signing on to this? And what I told the hospital, as long as I get an answer in the affirmative, I'll take it to council. And then if I get the answer in the affirmative, we'll support it. But I would like to support it with this letter, but it's not something that I can do unilaterally. With our applications or other government entities, you have a resolution that allows the mayor and I to execute those. Even though lots of times we will bring that forward to you just as an FYI if there's time or official approval. But if you'd like to support this application, it does seem worthy. I do think medical services in rural communities are important, and having an expanded facility there definitely is going to benefit the citizens. So.
Did they already purchase property across the street from there?
I only know what's in this letter. I think they're either in the process or they may have some sort of lock-in, but I'm not 100%.
They turned down Turner. They were gonna go into Turner, correct? And then they put that off for 5 years, it looked like.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I only
You
know
don't
about
know?
us.
Okay.
I can't think of any reason why we wouldn't support it.
Yeah, right.
We wrote a letter for SITS, when they were asking funding for the ambulance building and extended services. So I think this aligns with that.
Okay.
And I do know from hearing from residents that it's getting very difficult to get in there. Appointments are getting pushed out and things. So anything we can do to help our residents, I think would be
Yeah.
a good thing to do.
Yeah, we've talked to them about different ideas on their expanding their facilities, and it's just such a constrained lot. Without some additional property, it's going to be tough. So
You just need a consensus on this?
you could just make a motion to support.
I move we support the letter.
Second.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent.
Scott, did you vote?
Aye.
Okay.
I'm sorry, second, I missed that.
You didn't get a cupcake.
Walter was the second. Okay, the motion passes unanimously for the letter of support.
Excellent. Thank you. Just a couple of housekeeping items for council. One is tomorrow night, we will provide food for the CIS training if you're able to attend. And I'm not really sure what's all going to be covered, but we have CIS come in and train staff regularly. And we go to their trainings regularly. So I thought it would just be a good, if you have any questions, they'll cover a broad range of stuff, but you're welcome to ask Sharon Harris, who is going to be our representative, any questions that you have, and she'll try to
It's
answer.
gonna be the Jeopardy game like you guys put.
No, we're going to skip the Jeopardy game. Yeah, I might just let that subscription run out.
That'd be great. No, I think you need to bring that.
What not to do?
Yeah.
Yes or no? Okay,
Please.
I got you. Maybe we'll do some follow-up after this training with the Jeopardy game. Okay.
Jeopardy is not Family Feud, Greg.
Was that no, it was Jeopardy, wasn't it?
I know.
But the one that we did
You
it,
think it'll turn into Family Feud if we do it that way?
as long as there's a literature category, that's it.
We could do
Okay,
City Feud.
okay. It was fun. I didn't mean to put anybody on the spot. It was all in good fun. So a couple of things. As you know, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks, the end of the week. So that's Steve saying, great, we're finally rid of him.
That is a nomination. Second.
So I will be gone at the next council meeting. There are some, there could be some pretty significant action items. We're just waiting to see if they all work out. Kirsty is very capable and she's going to do a good job. I may zoom in depending on the action items.
No, you're on vacation.
Yeah.
Allows you to take the time off.
Well, I know, but one of them is one I've been working on for a long time, so I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But Kirsty will be, Kirsty will
Call
be.
in, we just might
We'll just ignore you.
hang up on you.
Okay, well, you can mute me or.
It is a public meeting, Ron. I mean, you can
Yeah.
show up as a visitor.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can only talk for 5 minutes. Total.
3 minutes, right? Is it the-
Three.
It's five. It says
3 to
five.
5, okay.
Yeah.
5 here?
All right, so, and then the 25th of March, we have set aside for our council retreat. We're working on that stuff. There's going to be some exciting options. I know that we're kind of entrenched in the wastewater project. I guarantee you we're up to here with the wastewater project. And we'll be working on that, but there's other stuff that some really exciting stuff we don't stop, you know. That wastewater project's gonna go and other stuff's gonna go, and there's some great stuff that we have options we want to run by the council. I know there's some policy stuff the council wants to talk about, so we've got lots on the agenda. I did schedule it for an evening meeting on the 25th, so if we don't get through it all in 2 or 3 hours and we want to break and come back, we'll just schedule another meeting. So that's my plan. I can't think of anything else, but I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Where we are next. I don't have any questions. Okay. All right, I lost my paper. Mayor and councilor reports. Does anyone have anything to report?
That's meeting tomorrow, and we will be starting the discussion of adding Aumsville to the committee. Finally.
Gotta show up to that. Are you gonna be attending in person or virtually? Okay. I'll connect with you after this. I don't have anything to report. Is there anything for good of the order? There's a correspondence in our packet. It is a summary of the food pantry over the year 2025. It's pretty detailed. I don't know, Della, do you want to expand on it or just have us read it?
I just wanted everyone to know, a lot of what did came in the last 3 months. For the food, when the SNAP benefits were announced, they were being delayed or stopped, and the community really stepped up with the amount of monies and foods donated to meet those needs. So, and we appreciate all the help we got.
We should be get ahead then, right now, because it
Yeah.
didn't stop.
We are somewhat ahead, but the funds that were given to cover the SNAP benefits through the state of Oregon are expiring in June. So the extra food that we've been getting and we are able to stockpile will help us get past that. So, and we have funds set aside so that we're in much better shape this year if things happen over the summer and fall, that we'll be able to meet those needs.
Thank you. I think that is important though, the last 3 months. After that, oh, there is no executive session, and if there is nothing else, we can go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 7:59 p.m.